Minisode 169.
169, and you didn't tell me?
No, because I forgot until right now.
I
Thank
can't
God.
believe I didn't know.
This intro would have been 10 times worse.
How funny would it be if I broke out like a 2-hour-long game show format right now, all about 69ing mysteries?
I'd actually, you know what? That's the first time I'd be like, all right.
I want to know how you pulled 2 hours of content out of 69ing.
You had to cut it down
I
from
do it every
69
time.
hours, dude.
Oh, shit. Nice.
Yes! We love to start
What do
the
you
show
have
with
for
a
us
little
today, boys?
grossness.
You start us off, Alex, with
I
I
got something great for you guys today. I'm gonna do a little reading for you guys. I'm gonna start. I love to go on the internet and find weird things. So I figure for a little bit, I'm gonna like go Reddit diving, and I'm gonna like just show you guys a great post from a Reddit that you probably have never been on before. Okay, how does that sound?
All right.
So this first Reddit that we're gonna talk about today. What do you want to call it? Subreddit, I guess. Subreddit diving. It's called
the Minisode.
Yeah. Well, this segment, this is an Alex episode. This is called r/humanoid encounters.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. So r/humanoid encounters is a subreddit that has its about section says, if you have ever had an encounter with a humanoid being, this is the place to post it. Have you been abducted by aliens? Have you bumped into Sasquatch? Been chased out of the woods by something on 2 legs, but it didn't look human at all, other than being shaped like one? Please share your true encounter. Okay? So that's r/humanoid encounters. And the post I'm going to read for you today is a post by a account called Throwaway Doppel. And the post is called, I'm currently being stalked by a something that looks and sounds exactly like me. Last Saturday, it tried to break in. I need help. This is the story.
Sounds like good fan fiction. I'm here for this. Let's go. Yeah,
this is the story, and it scared the shit out of me because I was laying in bed reading this at like 2 a.m. Okay, this one is a doozy. Apologies if I get things wrong grammatically, as I'm extremely paranoid at the moment. I live in the UK, Devon, with my dog. It's important to note that there's a huge expanse of woods behind the house. Early last month, this thing that looks and sounds exactly like me began to show itself directly to me. But I fear it's actually been around for much, much longer. About 4 years ago, my parents, grandmother, and cousins were over at mine for a get-together. I remember my mother going to smoke around the back. Not even a minute after going out, she comes back in, all flustered, and asked me why I was outside in the woods. She said I was staring at her blankly. Thing is, I wasn't. I was inside with my grandmother and dad. My mom, bless her soul, passed it off as just seeing things. Stupidly, so did I. Cut to last year, I was in my lounge when my dog ran off into the conservatory barking like mad. This wasn't really surprising as we do have quite a few rabbits and other vermin around the area. That was till, I kid you not, I heard my fucking voice talking in the conservatory. I checked outside, nothing at all. Last month while cleaning the kitchen, I saw me outside in the wood. It looked 1-to-1 with me. This fucker didn't move an inch. It was like a statue. I froze in place. I guess it was more the shock of seeing myself with my own 2 eyes physically. I leapt over to the conservatory door. Gone. It was gone. In the split time it took me to go to the door, this fucker was gone. Last Saturday, I was upstairs on a work assignment when I heard my fucking voice asking to be let in. My dog was going nuts and got worse when this thing was clawing and scratching at my windows and door. I contacted the police and I'm away at my parents' house for the time being. I don't know what to tell people or if they'll even believe me. I just want this to end. Any advice, because I'm dreading when I see this thing again or what it'll do. So there you go.
That's where it ends?
Yeah, he's asking for advice.
All right. It's very skinwalkery.
I mean, story-wise, I wish there was more. But I guess for internet content, pretty solid. It's going to get a lot of interaction. What were the interactions? What did people say?
So yeah, so I got some. So I have some comments here. One, somebody said you have to look up jinns. They're shapeshifters who can take on the form of anyone and even imitate their voice. This happened to my brother once. One thing about them is that they can't enter your home or open doors unless they're invited in. No matter what you do, don't leave any doors or windows open. Also, don't feed them fear. Burn some sage and play some protection prayers in your house. However, your best line of action is to contact a spiritualist. So that's one. Somebody else said, this would literally be my dream. I'd tell that doppelganger to go to my work every other week. Both of us would get 2 weeks of free vacation each month. Another person said, there can only be one. Chop its head off and absorb its life force.
I love that.
Yep. Yep.
Somebody else said, how do we know you're the real you, huh? And then another, this is my favorite theory, or you could be actually seeing and hearing yourself from a different point in your timeline. I have a feeling that time is much more, well, wibbly wobbly, if you'll excuse the reference, than people think. Maybe some places are just thinner than others and it bleeds through. Shrug. Not saying I'd let it in or anything, but it might be nothing. You should probably invest in some carbon monoxide detectors just to be on the safe side. They're like, they give this really like heady explanation of time travel, Doctor Who, whatever. And they're like, or you might be poisoning yourself slowly with gas.
Yeah.
Have it checked. So that's Humanoid Encounters on Reddit. A great subreddit with lots of great stories like that on there. I'll come back at you again next time I remember to do this with another weird subreddit that I found. How does that sound?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
I'm here for that.
I used to hit that like random subreddit button just to see what random shit is out there.
Yeah. I don't know what it
anymore.
is about doppelgangers that scares the shit out of me so much, but we did like episode 2 is like on doppelgangers or something like that. It was a long time ago that we talked about doppelgangers on the show, but I don't know why. Something about it. I'm like, I'm going to fuck it or I'm going to kill it, right? 50-50.
Yeah, you know what? 50-50. I agree. Jesse, what are you 50-50
I'm going to try and pull us back from the brink of doppelganger fucking.
If you're not thinking 50-50, you're lying to yourself.
It's not a 50-50. It's a 100, but let's continue. So, excuse me. We back in December had a lovely conversation about Christmas and its origins and how the reason why it's kind of spooky is because the winter is kind of spooky. And the winter is, for most of human society, most of our history, the winter is when you would die, right? And we made a comment that was like, now society's changed a lot and you have heating and stuff or whatever. But over the weekend, the Washington Post had an article that was about the month you're most likely to die in. And one of the people who wrote in said, it's weird that when you see like a bunch of celebrities die, they always die in January. It's always like end of the year, January. It's like, that's very weird. What's up with that? And the question was posited. It seems like November, December, January, more people died than other months. And they were like, general. Absolutely. The data backs it up. And I thought it would be a few things, right? It's everything across the board.
Temperature,
heart disease, chronic respiratory disease, pneumonia, Alzheimer, neoplasms, cerebrovascular disease, diabetes, sepsis, Parkinson's, everything except accidents increases in November, December, January, and then February, March. And the reason, and this is what's great about this, is they say the most deadly are February and March. I'm sorry, January is the most deadly. February and March are number 2 and 3, except March is number 2 only because it has more days than February.
Oh, whoa,
and then November is equally deadly, but it comes in later. Fourth is December, 5th is November, right? Those are the 5 months where most people die. And they say that it's for a myriad of reasons, right? But the basic gist is when it's cold, your body changes. The human body changes for the cold weather. And everything that could happen, be it you hitting by diseases because you're indoor more, or you're not moving as much because it's cold out, or your blood vessels contract because it's trying to preserve the heat in your body, and your heart is pumping faster, so you have more likelihood for any sort of blood clot or something to move or dislodge. So everything about you is changing over the winter, and the colder it is and the longer it's cold, the worse effect it has. So if it's November, it hasn't been cold for long. If it's December, it hasn't been. But by January, February, March, if you've been freezing and you haven't been moving a lot and you haven't been doing a lot of stuff, all the factors of the other things attacking you and trying to hurt you will happen as well. So that's just it's always been that way throughout history, and that's why. And it's super interesting.
That
very weird. I don't want to die in January.
They have a map of the U.S. and they're looking at again, because even though they have one for the world, they have a map of the U.S. And I thought this was interesting for us, is that it's from 2010 to 2019, the average death pattern. And, it's one of those maps. It's an infographic where it's just like the U.S. and there's different shades from very, very light color to like a dark, almost black color. And in January, February, March, the U.S. is really darkly shaded. In April, it starts to change. And by August, it's the least amount of deaths. And then it immediately in October starts to switch again and go back. And then it hits December.
What the numbers are like
starts
in
to go dark
Australia
again.
Or something, right? Like, does it correlate to winter in Australia?
Yeah,
or
that's a good question.
The actual
it
months
absolutely correlates to the weather, not the season. Or not the actual month. So yeah. It's seasonal, but it's cut up into months. Yeah.
It's just a harder time to be alive.
And they say
every way.
Yeah, he says in regions where it's colder, people spend less time outdoors, and they were saying that they were talking about Alaskan summers or southern summers, right? And they were saying that an Alaskan summer can be colder than a Florida winter. But wherever you are, you adapt. So psychologically, your responses to the things that you would do, for example, if you are in the summer in Alaska and it's cold to someone in LA, it would feel fine to you. It's the same thing as dudes wearing shorts when I lived in Buffalo to do their front yard when it snowed. And so your body adapts. So what would mess us up, Alex, for example, you'd be very likely to die in the winter if you decided you were going to go winter in Alaska.
If I went to go work on a video game in Sweden for 10 straight days, in sub-zero temperatures.
Your body would physically be like, what is happening?
Let me tell you,
it's like the time there's a video that exists out there, Crendor and I in Boston for PAX, and I did not pack properly. It's my fault. But he's filming and I'm like, guys, and I can barely breathe. And I'm like, it was rough. So all I'm saying is, yeah, it checks out.
I'm with you. Tangentially, living in Texas after growing up in New England, the summer makes me, I can barely move without having to sit down and rest because
it's like 110 degrees.
I sweat instantly. Yeah. It's like 100 degrees all the time. And people around me are like, this is great. And I'm like, dying so bad. But when we occasionally get like 50, 40 degree weather out here, it's so nice.
That's why I'm always complaining about the article. Winter. Like people always say that LA is like wussies when it gets cold, but it's like, we don't have siding in our houses. And when we walk around outside, we're not wearing jackets, bro. We don't have like a fucking heavy duty jacket. It's 50 degrees, still cold cave air in our house. And there's no siding on the house. It is fucking cold at 50 degrees, bro.
It feels very chilly in a way that you can't describe to anyone. Cause when you're like, man, I'm so cold. And they're like, how cold is it? And you're like 54, dude. And they're like, they're like, I don't know how to describe to you. It feels cold. It feels cold. And
it's fucking cold.
One of the things in the end of the article, they say all of this is leading to them testing and studying climate change and how that will affect things. Cause they're like, as it gets more wacky, and highs become more high and lows become more low, it's going to be more common to see people die from weather-related stuff. Not just like the snow killed them, but they were so cold that they had a heart attack, like that kind of thing.
Sick. Hell yeah. Can't wait for that.
So there you go.
Well, let's leave you all off on another depressing note. I just wanted to bring up a brief thing about AI again. If you haven't all they're out there, go look at Sora and Fear for Your Life.
Whose job was
We're about
lost
to enter the age
time?
of like...
Yeah.
No, it's like we're about to enter the age of like misinformation with the how good. Like 1 year ago, Will Smith eating spaghetti was a meme because it looked terrible, and in 1 year, video has come an insane amount of way. And one thing I read about AI recently is most technology, well, all technology up to this point follows something called Moore's law. For those who don't know, Moore's law is basically the observation that the number of transistors in an integrated circuit doubles at about every 2 years. So about every 24 months, CPUs can hold more transistors and shit. AI has halved that. It's every 12 months. It's upgrading and needing more and being able to do more and whatnot. And it's the first of any kind of tech that's been able to break Moore's law as we understand it. So AI is fucking skyrocketing. Regulation is not even keeping up in any way.
What a leap in AI is yet. You know what I mean? We might like.
I feel like we don't even really know what we've tapped into now at this point.
It's so scary, you guys. I don't know why
they're just like this. Full fucking speed ahead at just like pushing it further and further and further. So
it's so
keep an eye out really for everybody out there. AI and like fake shit it's already pretty prevalent out there. It's gonna become the norm. Just be ready to triple check your sources because video is on the way. And no matter how many safety protocols they think they can put in front of this thing, it has been proven that it doesn't always hold. So, all right, that's it for us on that existential thought.
Cool. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. We will see you guys next week with the final episode of Bellstar. And we have a guest coming on a couple weeks after that, a returning guest, one of Jesse's favorite people. That's it for us. Thank you all so much for the support here on Patreon, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Not like this.
And bye.
Not like this.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, my little Chilluminauts, to episode Minisode 170. I think this is Minisode 170.
Welcome. 170 Minisodes.
Very important number for no reason at all, other than I say so.
It's a nice round number. Like I love when a number's like not a 3 or a 7. I like when it ends in a 0 or a 5. I get that.
I realized I was chewing gum, and that's not cool. That's professional.
All right. Well, welcome to the Minisode, everybody. There's some crazy stuff going on. Are we opening with the Wendy's thing? Alex,
I got some trippy stuff too. That's going to blow your mind. So,
oh God. Okay. All right. Do we end with that, or do we go next?
Wendy's is just sort of a non-starter now because they were just gonna introduce surge pricing, like with AI algorithms to manage the price of certain food items on their menu, which is like, to me, a ludicrous idea. And everybody was like, if you can't know what you're going to walk into a Wendy's with $5 and get, I'm just going to go to McDonald's, right? Like there's nothing that Wendy's owns well enough that you got to go to Wendy's for it, like a double or, something like that. Like, so there was this whole thing about it, and everybody was like, this is like capitalism showing its true face. It's just truly evil. It's a truly evil policy. That's like
Dave predatory. Thomas would be furious.
Yeah. And they backed down today.
Well, good. So, I'm glad they fucking
humans win, so like, don't worry about it. Like, it's all good. I'm sure this is never going to happen again, and we're never going to have to think about it again. And that's the end of that. AI is done.
Yeah. All right,
the mess up thing is it's so easy to figure out what the boardroom was thinking. They were like, all right, it's very clear. People come at lunch, people come late at night. And then the rest of the day, people they come in whenever. How do we get people to show up in hours when we have low business? Well, if we make prices cheaper during those hours, more people are willing to come. Thus, we'll have more people. That's what they were thinking. And it's insane.
No one will mind when a burger's $9.50 at dinner time.
Yeah. They still got to eat lunch, don't they? Yeah. Oh, no. It's such scummy business practices. Terrible.
I hate it. Well, hopefully that's the end of it. We beat the AI. Congratulations to humanity. We did it. We beat them back.
Yeah. That is not even remotely close. Unfortunately, if you've seen the video of Will Smith eating spaghetti from years ago versus today, and it's just so gross how much better it is. And you're like, well, this is going to end badly for all of us. There was an article that came out where they were talking about how people in the future will be able to AI generate their own adult videos.
Yeah, that's
and I'm
scary
like,
as shit.
And the whole article is about like, is this the end of sex work? And I'm like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. Like, it's weird. But here we are.
Wait, what the hell? Yeah, it's wild. AI scares the ever living bejesus out of me with the video stuff specifically and like image stuff. I'm like, it's getting
absolutely
really, really quick. So, before you go, Jesse, because if you're gonna blow minds, I'll go first. We're gonna do another. I'm gonna do not a main episode, but we'll do another minisode that's very focused on the UFO stuff that's happening right now. But there's like a lot of just like
still
random
in motion,
scattershot shit that's happening that's worth bringing up. One is just like the cool scientific discovery that made me feel insane was the scientist. I sent it to you in the text if you didn't look at it, but they discovered a way to geometrically weave titanium together in a way that makes it 1.5 times stronger than it's normal without changing its weight.
Oh, that was the cube you sent.
Yeah, I think it's a picture of like the weird, like it was zoomed in like cube type thing, which makes me feel like an insane person because that's how they're calling it a metamaterial and a bunch of other things. And that's what they've been calling fucking UFO wreckage shit that we supposedly have forever, that is described the exact same way under a microscope, that it's weaved together in a geometric pattern that allows it to be lighter like aluminum, but have a way more durable strength. And Alex, when you go, even I thought of that. I'm like, thank God I'm not in a weird reality. Like, I'm not saying it was backward engineered. I refuse to say that because there's just,
it's just
like
weird.
a huge jump.
It's like it's literally the same. Weird. It's literally the same thing as like there being like scientists have discovered something that they're calling a lightsaber. Like, you know, it's like it's
like,
as surreal as that. Yeah, like
sure.
You're like, this is exactly an alien thing.
It's wild because it's like literally they describe it the way that I've been reading about it for like 30 years. So there's that. Then there was the UAP.
It also could be the Star Trek effect, where
could be.
The thing that you read about inspired them to create the thing that they made.
Which is why I won't say they've backward engineered it, because it's very possible. Then we got some drone footage from a Ukrainian drone capturing a UAP.
I was just going to ask you if you saw that. That's super interesting.
So we're gonna, here's a link to it if you want to watch it.
Looks like
and
the cigar.
Can hear them. Yeah, it looks like a cigar. It's hovering over the water. And you can hear a few people speaking Ukrainian in the background. And there's a translation that says, this is what they're saying over the video. Why can't he fire missiles at us? What do you mean? Holy fuck. Fuck. What the fuck is this? I'm telling you, it's UFO for something. It's standing still. Zoom in more. It's standing still. Do you see? Can't see anything on the thermal cameras. Maybe ram it as a joke. And then the last sentence they couldn't is like
the maybe ram it part is the most honest. It seems like a real ass conversation. Like, well, do we? Because they're in an active war zone. They're like, do we hit it?
Like what do we do? They said they can't fire missiles at it, which makes me think they can't lock on, which is exactly like what every UAP is. But if you look at it, it's a long cigar-like shaped thing hovering over the water, just fucking hovering there. And they zoom in on it and they're looking at it. And it's just one of those, like, it reminds me of the 2017 videos a little bit, in the Mosul Orb video, where you're just like, what is that thing?
Also, a lot of people are saying it's not water. It's just Ukraine is just flat.
Oh, okay, cool. So it's just over land then.
It is the breadbasket of Europe.
Very true. Very true. I didn't know if they were like where they were like, fighting Russia off in the sea and stuff. So this video is just like fucking one of the very few that come out that I'm like, that's a good video. Like that's something that you can point at. It really
feels. I mean, I don't speak this language, right?
Yeah.
But man, sometimes you can just tell from the acting, right? And this doesn't pass that. Like this does pass that sniff test for me.
Yeah. Then there was audio I fed you guys about Representative Ralph Norman in audio after the SCIF meeting. Did you listen to any of that at all?
I did not hear that, no.
You should, you can go listen to it. It's like a minute and a half long. He's talking about, like, he basically it opens up with him saying, but my God, I guess we're just going, I'll go ahead a little bit.
Is it?
My God, I guess we're just going to be unprepared and just take it. This isn't political. This isn't politics. And for you young people, of course, I'm waiting for it to go, affects all of us, young and old. What was the heart of his talk? He gets asked, and it says, was it on SAP's special access programs, or was it broader? And then he goes, he spoke at length for 20 minutes at COS that we ate. He's talked for 20 minutes, and then we answered questions. And where's the funding coming from? From the government. Yeah, he's just getting interviewed by Ask a Poll and whatnot. And he just continues to say they've named like private corporations and they got shown slides. He says in here they got shown slides of things that are classified that defy explanation. He can't understand them. And he's like, and the reason he's frustrated, he said, is because like we're just not going to tell anybody about this. We're just going to go into this unprepared, and it's just going to happen. There's like we're not preparing anybody for it. It's just going to happen. Apparently, I don't know what you know what I mean. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yo, go ahead.
I deep dived. I'm
Into
sorry.
what?
I get so distracted.
No, I know.
Into the initial Ukraine UFO.
Oh. Okay. Go ahead.
So
live update here at Chilluminati.
Water might be accurate.
Oh.
So here's the thing. When looking at it, the very first few seconds of that video, it's clearly over the ground, and then as it pans in, it is a black cigar-shaped thing, what appears to be in the sky. But really, that's the coastline, and it's something called the Fata Morgana effect.
That's a power in Vampire the Masquerade.
Fata Morganas are among the most dramatic mirages, appearing as free-floating islands or ships. Basically, based on angle, and like, I'll just send you guys the link so you can look at it later or post it onto the subreddit.
Okay.
But basically,
this thing is an optical illusion.
Yes, that is a boat on the water, and that's why it's not moving. Is because it's sitting in the water. It's a Popular Mechanics article.
There is a video, or not a video. There's another photo of a UFO that is highly popular that also may be this. That's debated often, and I can see this being the case because I've seen another photo that can be like that. I'm opening the link right now though.
Yeah, it's absolutely. They include the optical illusion of a ship floating, and it's just like it's
so
just
it wasn't
the Earth in our eyes.
Yeah, it's interesting because it wasn't being picked up by thermals either, and they couldn't lock onto it. So
I mean, like that's hyper interesting. Like based on the very first few seconds, it looks exactly like the images they're showing on this Popular Mechanics website.
Yeah, I would have loved to see the thing move. If it had moved, then we would have been.
Then we'd have better.
Another thing. Yeah,
exactly. Sorry, I was just like
no. That's
diving.
Like, yeah, exactly.
And but it also doesn't violate the fact that maybe those guys did not know that. You know what I mean? Like even if
they're
100%.
very like that's real human reaction.
They seem like they are not acting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the last two things in the UFO world that I just want to give quick updates on. So David Grush is supposed to be releasing an op-ed, like it's supposed to be coming out soon. It has been delayed, not by him or his publication, but by the DOPSR has stopped it from being put out and has delayed it because they need to go over what he's supposedly saying and censor it, which to me is like, well, if there's not true, why do you need to go over and like censor things out if what he's saying is all a lie, like you've been perpetuating? And the last thing that makes me feel
security review,
DOPSR is like, the Department of Defense is like,
preview and security review or something.
SR, Defense Office of Pre-Publication and Security Review. Yeah. Correct. They stopped it and it's getting delayed because they need to apparently go over something that they didn't need to prior, but that's all we know. And the last thing, you know how in the grand scheme of like who has UFO wreckage, like Lockheed Martin and all that stuff, the Department of Energy is another big name in that. It has been since forever. You both are aware of that, right? I'm not giving you information.
This is like Battelle Institute, all that stuff. It's right in that mind zone.
Somebody was doing some deep diving and some history, like seeing some things because Kirkpatrick and whatnot. Fucking Sean Kirkpatrick has been with the Department of Energy since he was 17 years old.
What?
I'm going to send you a newspaper clipping.
What?
Sean Kirkpatrick, the man who ran the AARO, has been tied up with the Department of Energy since he was 17 years old. When Duluth teenager and budding inventor Sean Kirkpatrick began his ambitious plan 3 years ago to build a machine that could speed up blood typing with the use of lasers, all he had in mind was getting my first patent before I was 19. Now he has a chance to realize even bigger dreams. Kirkpatrick will experience the kind of thrill I can't explain, he says, while working alongside the federal government's top research scientists in the inaugural high school honors research program sponsored by the Department of Energy.
Dude, we should look into that whole study.
No shit.
We should look into every high school student in that.
So I'm just, and he's after ARO, he's going to work for Patel. He's tied up with Patel currently. So, I'm just saying, I feel fucking crazy. I'm like, this is real.
Crazy. It's not crazy. It's just, it's the same reason this guy's been sus for a while. Like, it's the same reason this guy is like, on people's radars like this in the first place, right? He's like a weird technology inventor. And the idea of, we are reverse engineering UFOs is like a very common idea. And the idea that, I don't know, like, it's not crazy. There's some reason why people have this idea. It's a great explanation for a lot of evidence that's out there. That's why it's an idea, right?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
Also, while we're here, hey, microwave prices.
I knew you were
Thanks for going down over time. The clipping that Mathis gave us has Sears selling microwaves, 125 units to choose from, and the prices are like $120, $140.
In
you can get a microwave for $60 now.
In
they look like
1986,
TVs.
$190.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot.
Great font choice, though. That's the font from The Force Awakens right there, and it's pretty good.
Jesse, with that, take it away. What do you have that's so fucking wild?
Gentlemen, brace yourself for another round of, oh my God, I don't know if this is the coolest thing ever or the scariest shit ever. Get ready.
I love that.
These are the results of a study 15 years in the making, and I'm totally blown away by this. You, me, everyone we know and love is inside a massive magnetic tunnel, according to new research out of the University of Toronto. That's because the Earth, the entire solar system, nearby stars are all encircled in this massive galactic tunnel structure of magnetized filaments that are invisible to the human eye, says Jennifer West, an astrophysicist at the University of Toronto's
The UFOs are using the magnet tunnel to move the way that they move.
If you could see radio light, we would see this bright stuff stretching all the way across the sky in several different directions. And I'm just going to give you an image here. You can describe this to people.
Oh, why didn't it link?
I have to copy paste it. Weird. Yeah, it's fine. How dare you make me do that? Oh, cool. Okay. That's like it looks like it's like
heat vision,
half red, half
colors.
blue with the mixing colors in the middle.
Yeah, and then you got these like the filaments, I imagine is what these are kind of like, it looks like Wolverine just like slashed the universe is what it looks like.
Kind of, yeah. So the first images taken of this were of something called the North Polar Spur. And then there's something called the fan region. These are two massive, mysterious, bright structures that are only visible through telescopes and picked up by radio waves, right? And for the longest time, they were thinking that basically there are these two weird things out there, and astronomers were like, I mean, they're interesting, but we don't know what they are. And it wasn't, and according to the article, they said that people knew about this since the 60s. It's something that we've just seen. They exist. It's kind of always been around since we've been staring out with high-powered telescopes. But again, no astronomer knew what the hell this was. And part of the problem, says West, is that scientists almost exclusively studied them as separate entities. But West theorizes that they are, in fact, connected in a complex system of charged particles and magnetic filaments, forming a sort of tunnel that encircles the solar system and some of our nearby stars.
That is so crazy.
West says, I was looking at a map of the radio sky on the computer, and it's just like a map of Earth. If you look at a map of Earth, you almost always look at the equator in the middle. And it's the same thing when you look at a map of the galaxy. Astronomers usually put the galactic center in the center of the map. And West was like, well, what happens if we look at the map completely differently and we put something else in the center? And when I did, it became much more evident that these two structures might actually be on either side of us and on opposite sides of us. And so that's when I got to thinking about the big picture and like, maybe we're inside of that. Using a computer model, West estimated that the North Polar Spur and the fan region are located about 350 light years away from Earth and made up like a rope-like structure 1,000 light years long. And here's another image that hopefully this one will just easily send to you guys.
Oh, yeah.
That works.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
So that is where we are in our local arm. And then you can see this sort of like 1,000 light year band that
those are the yellow
things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stripes.
Wow.
Yeah. And so we're like caught up in that.
It's like a big picture of our galaxy, the arm of our galaxy. And then you zoom all the way into like where we are on the Perseus arm, I guess. Or no, lower than the Perseus arm. On the local arm.
Yeah.
Local arm. Yeah.
Yeah. Local bubble. And then it's like 4 slashes like right through where we are, pretty much. Right.
So the findings could literally change how we viewed the world around us. Imagine that you're sitting inside a tunnel and the rest of the galaxy is outside the tunnel and the rest of the universe is outside the tunnel in this case, but we're inside of it. Because we're inside of it, we have to look through the tunnel all the time to see what's going on the outside. So really, we could be seeing distorted everything.
We're talking about light distortion?
Everything. Like essentially light, radio waves, everything, because we're in this tunnel and the tunnel's filtering stuff into us, right? It could mean that, for example, we're in this long, think of it like a cloud, right? We're in a cloud and you can't really see out of it and you can't really see in it. And the things we can detect could be warped by the cloud, for example. It's like the same thing with the way rainbows are created. Right. And the particle, we could be seeing, so the universe as a whole, right? The Big Bang, all of it, the shape of the universe, everything could be distorted based on us being inside this.
That's so crazy.
You think it would just, and this is going alien land, but do you think it would distort our radio signals or radio signals coming in?
It could mean that it could be like a new thing added to the dark forest. The idea that the reason why we can't connect anything or see anyone is because no one's actively looking for us because we're in a thing that is blocking all signals.
Wild.
And when we send signals out, we're not getting past that. I just
looked it up. This
because it's 1,000 light years long.
This was discovered just a few years ago too. So like, I wonder what
now the thing is, things like Alpha Centauri and stuff, they're stuck in here with us.
That's good.
So that's a pot, like those things could be, but further out, the idea that this massive universe is, we could just be in a very small cluster where we can't get a hold of anyone else because we're stuck in a little thing.
We might not even have.
Did it say why we are in it? Like where this tunnel came from?
No, it's just said since the 60s, there's been 2 celestial objects, weird radio wave things. And West was like, what if instead of it being 2 separate things, it was one thing and they seem connected and like this sort of giant tunnel of, I guess you would call it radio light.
Huh. Wild.
Radio light.
It's magnetized filaments. Is what it is. And you have to wonder what do magnetized filaments do to radio waves, for example. Or, I mean, because the one image I sent you, it looks like there's slashes across the sky. Could it be that that's the vibe of no radio waves get through? You know what I mean?
Right,
like nothing's getting through there because it's dark.
That's just the force field on,
whatever. That is it. That's wild. Wow, and all this while
that is
we're currently
crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. Like we're also at the moment looking at a planet 100 light years away for evidence of alien tech. Because late last year, they discovered a new star system that's only 100 light years away from us. It has 6 sub-Neptune planets that circle very close to their host star in mathematically perfect orbits, which piqued the interest of scientists initially. And this dubbed HD 110067. And they're currently looking for signs there. They're going to be doing it for a while yet. But they say, they don't even know what they're looking for. But if any planet is going to have it, maybe these will. And they left off with the quote, "We reserve the right to get smarter."
Weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. The radio wave, the magnetic stuff, that's interesting. I want to read more about that. So I'll probably dig into that after this.
And speaking of imagining that you're in a tunnel, like my Wendy's has like a drive-through that goes around the back of it and you can't see the menu until you get there. And imagine if you got to the menu and the burger was $3 more than you expected and you didn't want to anymore buy the burger or buy anything from Wendy's, but you're in a tunnel and you can't leave the Wendy's. Have you just been forced by Wendy's to pay more than you expected for a burger? Think about that.
If you are stuck in the drive-through lane, you can't reverse.
Can't leave. Can't do anything.
You got to keep going. Yeah. It's like that hole that fits you. Just like it sucks you in. You're stuck.
Like Junji
This
Ito.
hole's made for me. This burger's made for me.
Yeah, and then you know what's on the other side of the hole ain't so pretty.
Yeah, no.
That's all I ever wanted was just a hole that fit me.
Let that be a warning to you all about AI.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys so much for supporting us here at patreon.com/Chilluminati pod. We'll see you next week. We love you. Appreciate you. Goodbye.
Bye.